Life is a series of unscripted experiences that forge us into unique individuals. These are the experiences and stories of those who possess the will, beliefs, and fortitude required to overcome obstacles, pursue their passions, and achieve success. Welcome to the HawkCast with your host, AJ Hawk.
Big announcement, big time episode tonight. We have Christina Pazsitzky, comedian.
You said it right.
A comedian, yes, I know. I'm trying to be professional here.
Pazsitzky.
Oh, Pazsitzky. Well, I've had your husband on here twice, and the first time I had to ask him, I knew of your work, but I could never pronounce your name right because I feel like everybody else gets it wrong.
It's the worst. I'm thinking of just going by Christina P from now on. I don't know. We'll see.
What is that? You're from what, Hungary?
Yeah, my parents are from Hungary. They escaped in 1969, and they went to Canada, and I was born in Canada, and then we moved to LA in 1980. So I grew up in LA. Thank God.
How was that? Like, how was it growing up in LA? I always wonder that.
You know what? Well, when you're not my dad's a forklift mechanic, so we grew up like, middle class, lower middle class, and immigrants. So I grew up like everyone else. I grew up in the suburbs of LA. But then you grow up around famous rich kids that have tons of money and you don't have shit. Mm-hmm. That part sucked. But
does that how does that grow? Like you said, you're growing up in this crazy world. Like I always wonder whenever I'm in LA, when you drive around and you see these houses that may be 1,100 square feet and they're $1 million. And I'm thinking, like, where does everybody live in LA if you don't make $5 million a year?
You live in the valley, the San Fernando Valley, or you live out at Valencia. Yeah, you live in the outskirts. Most people don't live in LA proper. It is too expensive.
It's ridiculous. So you said you're growing up around these famous kids and you guys weren't celebrities. Just from listening to your podcast, though, your dad is a celebrity to me when I hear you imitating him.
Oh, my God. I know. And he's on LinkedIn. And now people are finding him on LinkedIn. I'm like, don't bother my dad. Please let him be. Let him live his life.
Oh, does he? So, like, whenever I hear someone with an accent speak, and I haven't heard him, I've only heard you doing imitating your dad. Does he fully understand, like, your guys' comedy, you and your husband's comedy?
No, he doesn't understand shit. My parents haven't understood a fucking word I've said my whole life. Ooh. And that's probably why I'm a comedian, because I have to be heard. I feel like their context, you miss the context of stuff. If you're not a native speaker. You miss out.
So does your mom have an accent as well?
She did, yeah. She's dead, but before thick, heavy accent.
So how did you grow up in a house like that and you speak like all of us?
AJ, it's horrible. My childhood's a nightmare. Listen to that Steve Bro, you'll hear everything. It was a fucking nightmare. And I watched sitcoms on television. That's what I did. I watched television, and that's how I learned to be American. Because at home, we ate like cow brains and gross, foreigner stuff. And that's how I learned to be American. Is like I didn't see Star Wars until I was 20 years old. Stuff like that. But wait, you're American. You're so lucky. You're both your parents?
Born and bred in Ohio, yes.
I love Ohio. I heard something, though. I heard that you're the second best football player out of Ohio.
Behind your husband? Is that right?
That's what he said.
I think we're both might be. He might be number one. I'm not second, but old Tommy Buns, he's number one for sure.
He is. Can I ask you so many questions? I'm so excited to talk to you.
Of course. I'm so excited to talk to such a sports fan like you.
I'm the biggest football fan of all. I know everything about it. You want to know some shit?
Yeah, I want to know. Like, what are we doing out there? What's everybody doing out there in that football field?
I don't know. I don't understand. And my husband's tried explaining it to me for about 12 years. And I vaguely understand what you do. And I know when you're playing, because he points it out. He's like, there's AJ. But can I ask you some really important questions?
I would love to hear some of your questions.
Here's what I know of football. I absolutely hate it when the people that lose have to go to a fucking press conference and then talk about why they lost, how they lost. It's like, dude, I just lost. Like, I don't want to talk about it. It's like when you bomb in stand-up, would you want to be interviewed? Like, hey, how did that feel? Well, it felt shitty.
Yeah, next question. What else? Right. What else do you need?
Right. Like,
it's true. And did you happen to watch the Super Bowl this year?
No.
Yeah, well, there's a prime example of that actually. Cam Newton, the quarterback for the Panthers, he was the MVP of the NFL this year. Had an unbelievable year. Goes to the Super Bowl. His team struggles. They got beat, and he had to sit down at a desk and have a million guys with cameras and mics in his face, and they would ask him. And obviously, you just lost the biggest game of your life after this huge season. It's got to be so emotionally. It's only 10 minutes after the game.
Yeah.
And he was kind of short with his answers, I guess. And he stood up after about 5 minutes and just said, I'm done. Or they weren't really following up. I guess he wasn't giving them exactly what they thought he should or as much. And he gets all this heat for it. And I don't know, man. I don't know what the answer is, because if he freaks out and yells at these guys and tells them how he really feels, then they're going to be upset too. And he don't want them to be fake. So I don't know where the happy medium may be.
Yeah, and plus, once you get in trouble for you can't really say how you really feel. I'm sure you can't be like, "Fuck you guys, why are you asking me anything now?"
No, you will get fined big money, and you can't question the refs either. Like if you feel like you have bad calls, if you question them, you can get fined big money.
Wow.
So
you personally?
Yeah, us as players, we can get fined for everything. If our uniform looks wrong, if your socks aren't pulled up high enough, your pants are too short, everything.
What?
Yes.
So that's crazy. That's wow. Personally, they can take it from you.
Oh, big time. You don't write a check. They take it right out of your check. Payroll deduct.
No. So you can't even fight the law. You can't fight the man. If they're like, you owe us this, then you just owe us this.
It's taken out, and then you can appeal it later. So you will appeal it, but appeals don't go real well. They used to. Every once in a while, you could get your fines cut in half. But I mean, you can find big money. I've had teammates find $50,000 for one hit to a guy, or you can get fined $10,000 easily if your shoes are the wrong color for a game.
That's crazy. So, okay, I have so many stupid questions for you. When you're before games, I mean, do you ever get afraid of being hit? Like, do you ever? Because to me, it's like that's the gig, right? Is to be hit. And how do you get over that's a mortal fear. That's a pretty basic fear. And how do you get over that?
I mean, getting hit, like I wouldn't want to have to go out if I knew I was getting punched in the face every night. Like if I was a UFC fighter, that would be tough, I think. But football, I started playing when I was in second grade, so I wouldn't say there's like a fear of getting hit. It's not like that. I think you're aware of when you're playing teams that may be more physical, or there's a couple dirty players on their team that have been known to punch you underneath the pile and jump at the back of your knees. Like, that going in, but I wouldn't call it like fear of getting hit. I think more guys are just anxious and might have anxiety about just not making the play or getting beat on a play. And because if you get beat, there's 5,000 cameras, there's 80,000 people in the stands. Everybody's going to see it. They know if you make a mistake.
That's the part that kills me about professional athletes. It's like, it's not just you playing football, it's you playing, and this is America's #1 favorite sport, and Americans take this very seriously, and the pressure of the cameras and the people. And how do you cope with that?
You learn. I mean, it's the guys that can't, they don't make it very long. They don't last in the league very long. Because it's true now. It's even different now than from when I got in the league. So I'm going on my 11th season in the NFL, and so I've been playing. I'm 32. I've started playing football when I was 8 years old, maybe. I think.
It's crazy.
So now it's so different though, because it lives online forever. And if one bad play, like one crazy play that may lose a team a game or something, it'll be shown 20 years later still.
Yeah, and that's another thing. Those sports sesh shows, the wrap-up shows, the ad nauseum.
Yeah.
It's like Gossip Girl shows for grown men talking about football. It's like, we just saw the game, and now we're going to talk about the game for another 4 hours. And I know dudes love it. My husband loves it. But like, it has to feel horrible when you turn it on and it's you they're talking about with your buddies. Like,
it definitely, if you knew a lot of times if guys know that they may be the topic of conversation, they just try not to watch that night, or they try to stay off their phone. There's something to it. It added a whole new level to everything now that fans can get directly to players as well. We had a player a couple years ago. We lost a game in Seattle one time, like a heartbreaker. We would have gone to the Super Bowl if we would have won this game. We were one step away, and a play happened. It was an onside kick. It's called. I'm sure you're in. You know all this already. You watched it. But
I know. I saw that play.
Yeah, so the onside kick hit him in the helmet.
Yep.
The other team recovered it. They won. They beat us. And our teammate that we had, which we didn't lose because of this one guy, we lost because of many things. He got death threats and stuff. And it's asinine to think that people are that, I don't know, out of touch to actually legit do. They're not going to come kill him, hopefully. But to even say that is just terrible. They should lock him up. So
crazy. And most importantly, when you're in the locker room, do you look at the black dongs? How big are black dongs?
Why did I know? I had a feeling that was coming from you. That question was coming.
Everybody wants to know that. That's all I want to know.
Is that what everybody wants to know? See, this is the great thing, Christina. There's female reporters, and reporters are allowed in the locker room. So
wait, they're not allowed. They are allowed in there.
They are. So I mean, if you really need to know, maybe I could get you a press pass for a game.
Wouldn't that be the best?
The Rams are in LA.
In here for football, I'd be like, that ball moves somewhere, guys.
Excuse me,
Who's
sir.
got a big cock?
Yeah. Can you put your towel on, sir? Yeah.
Yeah. So, but they do see dongs then, right?
I'm sure they try to act professional like they don't, but they can't miss it. There's 60 guys that have to shower right away. So, yeah.
So then, I mean, it's not fair. I think it's so unfair that they should come in when you're naked and trying to get dressed and shower, right? I mean, that's horrible.
It is really weird that guys and girls alone, both, that they're all in there. And a lot of times you're still in your pads. Like, you haven't even taken off your full uniform, and they're starting to come in the locker room already. And it is kind of awkward. Like, do you change right now? And sometimes you'll be changing, facing your locker, and all of a sudden you'll feel like a swarm of them behind you as you're getting naked to put your towel on to go to the shower. And like, all right, guys, I thought I was going to do this after I maybe took a shower and got dressed, but are we going to do this now since you guys are all inching towards me as a guy's getting naked? Like, it's a weird scenario.
It's so personal. And when did they start allowing that?
They always have. I think they used to even have a lot more access, like the media did, to the players in the locker room, like any time almost. Now, at least there's like a 5 or 10 minute period after the game before they can come in, but that's for the reason we were talking about earlier, for players and coaches, so they can quote unquote cool down after the game, so they don't say anything crazy and emotional to the media.
Yeah,
which doesn't work. That 10-minute cool down. No.
And does your wife just how does she handle every time you have to play a game? Is she just? I mean, I would be so nervous.
She is. She's grown up with it. Her middle brother, she's the oldest of 3, and so her brother played quarterback in Notre Dame and played in the NFL for 7 or 8 years, and so she was really worried. He's not playing right now. She was really nervous when he would play, because the quarterback, it's all on him, and the game kind of goes through him, and he gets blasted a lot when you're the quarterback. And so for me, it's almost like she gets a break, because I'm on defense, and you can kind of get lost in the shuffle, and it's not like I have the ball every single play like a quarterback would. So she definitely gets nervous, though. She has anxiety for games, and she wants us to win really bad. And but she's been along for the ride forever, man. I don't know. That's a good question. She's
your boo.
Yeah, she's not. We've been married almost 10 years now. So yeah.
Nice. 3 kids, right?
3 kids. And you have your first, right?
Yeah.
Ellis.
4 months, Ellis. Yeah. Oh, you know his name. Yeah.
See, that's what you guys don't understand. Like, I'm a huge fanboy of your Mom's House podcast. And so I'm pumped now you guys started putting this on YouTube. So
yeah,
like, that's how weird I am. I'll set my iPad up when I'm going to bed at night. I usually listen to podcasts, like different ones. And now you guys, every once in a while, your guys will pop up on YouTube for that episode. I'm like, oh, and I just lay on the side like my pillow like this and prop my iPad up and watch you guys and your husband make videos back to Crazy Lokes about fighting.
Oh. How great is Crazy Lokes?
I can't even, I wish. The thing is, I don't know how much our audiences cross over. I'm guessing we don't have the same demo. But man, the dude Crazy Lokes, for people that are listening that don't know about it, please go listen to your Mom's House podcast with yourself and your husband Tom Segura. I don't even know, what's the latest with that guy?
Well, I think we have the gauntlet thrown down. I think there's going to be some kind of a challenge, and we're just working with his people now. He has a manager.
His people.
and we're gonna arrange something. I think in Sacramento. It looks like. I think we're gonna try to do a live podcast from Sacramento, and then maybe, Tom and Crazy Lokes will fight. I don't know. We'll see.
Do you want him? Are you worried about your husband getting in the ring with Crazy Lokes? You seem to when Crazy Lokes Fido is throwing these high like uppercuts, you seem to get kind of worried and tell Tom like, I don't know if it's such a great idea. Let's do something non-physical.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, because he's a powerful fighter. He's got a lot of really intense moves. He's training. He keeps pushing. From the rapping. In
every Walmart, in Target, wherever he's at, doesn't matter.
Walmart. The guy's he's a complete lunatic. What's interesting is that your mom's house has broken many stars of the internet. We had Peter Kane long before Tosh did, I think.
Oh man.
Auntie Fifi, Shane Lee, the singer.
Who's the Hey Hitler girl?
Oh, the Daniacs girl.
Yeah. Has anyone from the Daniacs, has her camp reached out to you guys?
Her people haven't reached out to our people yet. Not yet.
Shocking. She seems to be really self-aware and know what's happening.
Hey, Hitler. And I don't know if Hitler's gotten back to her yet. We'll have to see.
Like, what is that? So who trolls the internet and finds these people?
You know what's the neatest part about your mom's house is that the content that we get, it's 100% mommy driven. I mean, like 99.9%, meaning people send the shit to us and we just go through a flood of emails every day. We just get a flood of stuff, and Blue Band chooses, the good stuff. And then we select what fits to the show. Like we get sent some same videos. Like we've been sent cake farts about 1,000 times, and we're like, dude, we've covered cake farts. Stop sending cake farts.
Can you explain to the people that don't know? Like you said, it's mommy driven. Can you explain what mommies in this whole situation is? Because I'm on the inside. I know about it, but I know some people may not.
Yeah. Well, mommies are the people who listen to your mom's house. They're called little mommies. And Tom and I are the main mommies.
What's Gaga's fans called? Little monsters. Little monsters.
Monsters, yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. She's Mama Monster. So you're
Yeah.
Got it.
That's good. So we're the main mommies, or we vie for the position of main mommy. Mm-hmm. That fluctuates.
Yep.
And the mommies submit everything, and it's like a back and forth between the listeners and us. It's kind of a neat thing.
It's got to be. I know that your fans are very loyal. You can tell that.
Oh my God. You don't want to sick the mommies on anybody on the internet. Like if you tell them to go fuck with somebody, it's over. Like their life is over.
Really? It's like the old Opie and Anthony pest.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. But our listeners are, I think, way nicer. Like they're not, there's no malicious. I know Opie and Anthony, like I know Jim Norton, I think has a bodyguard that
Kenny
travels with.
Yeah, has Kenny, do you understand? So I've listened to Opie and Anthony forever. It's Opie and Jimmy now. And Club Soda Kenny, whatever. I guess he used to be Dice's bodyguard, and he goes with Jimmy every single trip. Is that from like back in the day when was Jimmy getting, when they were really hot on the radio back, in the early 2000s? Like, does he really need the security?
I don't know. From what I understand, I think some of the fans can be a little... Is that like just too excitable or something? I don't know exactly, but I've met that guy. He's super cool. Yeah, and he used to tour with Dice, and he's been in the comedy business forever. They're like buddies. They're good friends.
So do you know if Jimmy pays him personally or serious, or how does that work?
No idea.
Because that can't be cheap to have Kenny every single day. And Kenny drives. He drives them he'll pick him up in the morning and drive him to the studio.
I know. I don't know how it works. I don't know. Comedians comedians, strippers, psychologists. We're all in the same boat of weird, mental place. I don't know. But then wait a minute, football players, you guys are in the camp of you spend your money on dumb shit, like jewelry, like customized jewelry. That's a huge thing, right?
Yeah, I took my piece off before we started recording, but yeah.
Would your wife love that if you spent $50,000 on
at least $50,000 for some of those necklaces? She'd probably love it too. And then I'd go get her like a little earrings from Walmart or something.
Yeah, of course.
Hey, why can't I get a quarter carat earrings? Well, because I spent 80 grand on my AJ piece.
You need it, AJ. You should get the Hawk, right? Because is that your nickname? Are you a Hawk?
Well, it's my last name, but I don't know if it's my nickname. But yeah, I don't know. I've never really tried to jump on that. But
now, wait a minute. The black guys on your team didn't give you a cool nickname yet?
No, I've never. That's not really a thing. Nicknames. Maybe that was. I don't remember. No, I mean I don't have like a specific nickname. No,
they don't call you like Mr. White Folks or something like that. White Folks.
That'd be a good name. It's kind of long. If we could maybe condense it, it'd be okay. But now the nicknames are not. They're not huge on them. I guess I never paid attention to that. I might try to name myself, or you can't do that.
No, that's lame. You gotta. They have to name you. Someone's got to name you.
Of course. Now I don't think it's gonna happen. I've gone 10 years without it. I don't think it's going to happen now.
Tom wants me to call him Jumbo Dick. Jumbo is what he calls
Jumbo.
His peener.
His peener. Well, I heard an old Stanhope bit years ago when I saw Stanhope in Dayton, Ohio.
Oh, I love him.
About he said he was having his girlfriend call him EC for elephant cock. And I still remember it. I still remember.
Awesome.
Same thing. Tom's in the same vein. So are you going to start it or what?
I think we should start it right now.
Why not? For JD Segura.
There you go.
Segura. I had this conversation. Segura?
Yeah, that's how his family says it, but they're wrong. It's Segura, right? Because it's Latin.
Yeah, that's what he was telling me when he talked to, what is it, Top Dog? Is that his dad's name?
Top Dog, yeah.
Obviously, you can tell I'm really into your guys' show.
I know.
Well, I mean, Tom's the only 2-time guest I've had on the podcast too. He's been on twice.
Wow.
That's right. And you're the woman that was able to wrangle that wild cowboy and rein him in and get him married. How'd you pull that one? I know he was out there living the fast life in LA, and you pulled him in.
Right. My husband's a total Midwesterner at heart, right? Like
Cincinnati, that's right.
Yeah, he's like Tom Segura. When I met Tommy, he was only 23 years old, and he was already like a 40-year-old man. He was aesthetically old. No, I'm just kidding. No, but he's very mature. He was so mature. I just loved him. I always liked him back when we were just friends.
So where did you come across for the first time?
We met at the Cat Club in LA on the Sunset Strip, and it was there was some comedy show there. And I was smoking cigarettes, and he said I was wearing some boots and fishnets. I was dressed like a prostitute that night. And he said I was really shitty to him. He's like, "Hey, I'm Tom." And I was like, "Whatever." I was very goth. And I just, I kept seeing him around, and he was the funniest motherfucker. Tom Segura was always funny. It's not like every other comedian where it takes 10 years to get funny. This guy was funny. He was funny year one in stand-up. Everybody knew that Segura was going to be just the shit.
Wow.
So I just loved him. I've always loved him. Always.
What year was that when you guys that first meeting?
Oh, my God. Maybe like 2000.
Oh, wow. So were you both doing stand-up at the time?
Yeah, we both started around the same time. So me, him, Matt Fulshron, Jay Larson, Ryan Sickler, we're all Sam Tripoli.
Oh yeah.
We're all kind of the same school. Like we all started in that same time.
And were you always stand up, or did you ever do like the Groundlings or acting school and all that?
I did the Groundlings, and I hated it. I did it through like the advanced, and I remember one time I wanted to play a man. And they're like, "You can't. You're not allowed to do that here." And I thought, what are you talking about? The greatest comedic characters have been Monty Python, where they switch genders. Pat, the ambiguous thing on us now. Yeah, and like, why can't I play a man? And there's so many restrictions, and I have so many stupid opinions. And so I just started doing stand-up. And I'm angry. I'm not. I think you have to be you have to like want other people to be happy, to be a sketch actor, but stand-ups are more miserable. It's about me. You know what I mean? I don't care about other people as much.
And sketch actors, but aren't comedians in general, whether it's sketch, improv, stand-up, aren't you all just everyone's looking for approval at some rate?
Yeah. But I think in my opinion, the sketch actor is looking for, it's like positive approval, and stand-ups are kind of excited about the negative as well. Like if you look at acts like Stanhope, like we like to piss people off. I think that's the fun part. And sketch people are more pleasing. They want to please everybody, whereas we want to like walk a line and talk some shit and
be real, be authentic, I guess.
Yeah, I think it's at least for me. I can't speak for everybody, obviously, you know. But
how do you do that when? So like if you're veering away from that sketch, more like corporate America, making the 55-year-old housewife laugh, Midwestern housewife that thinks that when the fat comic does isn't that the hack line still like, oh, let me move this microphone so you can see me, the mic stand so you can see me.
Right.
When he gets on stage, I've personally seen multiple guys do that. I don't know. I would assume that's considered hack by this point. Am I right?
It's kind of whatever.
So, how do you like walk that line where you wanted to be a stand-up and be angry? You have to kind of be, I guess it seems like, have some issues and be angry and whatever to do stand-up and to write material. But then you also at the same time still want to do some kind of corporate work and get on shows and all that.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, that's kind of the decision you have to make is what kind of comic will you be? Will you write material from the outside in, meaning will you look at the world and go, oh, here's what's going to sell, let me write that? Or will you be somebody who your path might be longer, your path might be weirder, you may have to make a living doing other things. But I think now with the internet, it's completely changed comedy, because back in the day in the 80s, you had to be a clean comic. There was like, if you wanted to get on the Tonight Show, you had to be clean. But now it's like, fuck the Tonight Show. You can get on, you know, there's Conan and he's on TBS and you can say whatever, more or less what you want here and there. There's Showtime, there's the internet. So it's really opened up the gates. And ironically, at a time when the gates have opened, the political correctness of our culture is kind of ruining the fun of freedom. So it's an interesting time we live in. Comedy is going through kind of a change right now.
So where do you see like a tipping point, or is it going to get better or worse? Is comedy going to come out the other side and get rid of or change like the way people do view whatever it is you guys say on stage, which I think should never be able to. There shouldn't be any repercussions if you come into a comedy, a comedy club, and someone's on stage and you want to go home and blog about it, and the comedian has to apologize or do anything, like that just makes me crazy, because it's what you guys are doing is art. Crazy. The same thing that you wouldn't go and yell at someone acting on Broadway. You're not going to sit there and boo them and tell them they're terrible and blog and say your feelings were hurt and your safe space was violated.
Right. I think people are bored and they're looking to be offended. And if you look to be offended, there's a lot of ways to be offended every day, all day, if that's where your energy's at. And just to plug a documentary that I narrated, it's called Can We Take a Joke? And it's coming out this summer. And like Lisa Lampanelli, Penn Jillette, I can't remember her name, Gilbert Gottfried's in it too. And it's about this exact issue of how, comedians are being sued in Canada for jokes that they've told. It's preposterous. It's crazy, dude. But the tipping point is going to be this. You know, it happened in the 90s. It takes one person to stand up and go, fuck you, this is retarded. And then it's all going to come back. But we'll see. It'll take another few years.
Do you ever, so your fans obviously have to know what it is they're getting when they tune in to listen to a podcast of yourself or go see you do stand-up. Do you ever get any backlash or people that come after you for things that may not be politically correct or feel like they feel offended by?
Yeah, all the time. As a comedian, and I'm sure you get this too as a professional football player, there's people that take what you do very personally. And you're like, wait, how does that affect you? Well, you made a joke about autism and I have a third cousin who happens to be, and it's like, okay, well, what do you want me? You want an apology? Because it goes on infinitely. I can apologize every day, all day. If I write a joke about crackers, oh, well, I wrote about saltines and I like Triscuits and you've offended the Triscuit lovers or whatever the fuck. I mean, I don't know.
Is there anything that is off limits in comedy?
No.
Nothing?
No. I mean, look, right now on your mom's house, we have a meme going of, hey, Hitler. We're making fun of Adolf Hitler, who's the most hated person in history. No. Even rape jokes. There have been funny rape jokes. Cancer. There's people that have had. Tig Notaro just battled cancer and came out of it hilarious.
I watched her documentary. It was really good. Really good to see.
Yeah.
So the rape jokes there, you hit a hot button subject there. So you are a female, obviously.
Yeah.
And you say there are funny rape jokes. What is like the debate going on now with, it seems like some people, most comedians, I think, realize that anything is game, but especially people that don't pay attention to comedy, it blows their brain melts when they hear someone say like what you said. Oh, there are certain funny rape jokes. How does that? What's going on with that now? Because it seems like it always comes up.
Oh, the what's acceptable to be funny.
Yeah, and being a female, at least I feel like you are more qualified because usually females are the ones getting raped. Although my feelings are hurt because men get raped as well. So
that's true. A lot of little boys get raped. It's not just women.
Yeah.
And I know everybody's the rape culture thing right now is popular. It just depends on the context. And I think you can't blanket say this topic's off limits when, let's say, there is somebody who who is a rape survivor and they can joke about it because they've been through it and they've come out the other side of it and they can write that joke. Like my mom was mentally ill. She was schizophrenic. And I'm qualified to make the jokes about it. Maybe someone who doesn't have experience with that, maybe they're not. But do you remember Joan Rivers? Did you see her documentary by any chance?
Yeah, that's all I do is watch documentaries. So yeah.
Oh, me too. I love Let's talk about that. But anyway, Joan Rivers, she tells a joke about her someone being deaf, remember? And then someone in the audience go, "How dare you make a joke?" She goes, "You dumb fuck, my husband was deaf," right?
Yeah.
And that's the truth of it. It's context. It's where it's coming from. And if it's from a place of vulnerability, how can you blame somebody,
It's true. I can understand. I would try to put myself like on both sides of it. Like, so say I had one of my kids was autistic and I went to a comedy show and you had a bit on, an autism bit. I try to put myself in those shoes. Like it would be, I don't know if I would be able to laugh at it it would have to be crafted beautifully to laugh.
Yeah.
If you were that attached to it or that close to it. But at the same time, I would never confront you in front of everybody, in front of the whole place and say anything to you. And I would never demand that you would take it out of your act either though.
Yeah. Because when someone's offended, what they're really doing is they're having an emotional reaction to something you've said, right? But your intent isn't to hurt that person specifically. It's really about the person being offended. Like, what is offensive to you? This person talked about a subject that is a sore spot for you, and therefore the other person should stop talking? It doesn't make logical sense. And if you're offended, it's really a question of, well, what's going on in your world that you're so upset by this topic? Maybe you need to go see a shrink. Work out your shit. You know what I'm saying? It's not about
everything is projecting back on what we feel about a subject.
Yes.
It's not like what you said. It's how it made me feel because I'm weird and insecure about something you said.
And so now that person should shut up because my feelings are hurt, or that person should lose their job because my feelings are hurt.
Exactly. Yeah, you're right.
What?
No one should ever. I don't think anyone should lose their job for something like that.
No.
Wow. This first on my podcast, come here, bud. My little 5-year-old just came on. She's going to see you.
Hi,
hey,
cutie.
Here, bud, put your earphone in. Let me see.
Oh, my goodness.
Say hi to Christina.
Hi.
Here, let me get my earphone in so you can hear.
You are the cutest.
She just came down. Usually they're in bed when I record, but you say hi?
Hi.
Hi.
She has a little 4-month-old, Lennon. You want to say anything? You getting shy?
No.
Yeah.
Oh, you're so cute. I can't stand it. Now I want a girl. Oh, my goodness.
She is
How old are you? 4?
How old are you, bud?
5.
5. Oh, my goodness. What a fun year, huh?
Yeah, and you're a great big sister to 2 little brothers, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. She's a comedian, bud. Her and her husband both. I told you what that was earlier. Yeah. All right, buddy.
What do you want to be when you grow up? Do you know?
Oh, here. What you hear? She asked you a question.
Do you have any ideas on what you want to be when you grow up?
A doctor.
Ooh, yes. Doctor and a lead singer in a band. Yeah, lead singer. She's making her brother be the drummer. He's not allowed to sing because she don't want to share the spotlight.
I love it. Good for you.
All right, buddy.
Good girl.
Daddy,
You say bye?
It's really raining
Oh,
outside.
goodness.
But I need my raincoat.
Oh, okay, bud.
Where is it?
It's upstairs in your locker. I put it right there. All right, buddy. Love you, bud.
That is so cute.
All right.
She's ridiculously cute.
Country club for Disney.
Oh, goodness. All right, buddy. Love you. I'll be done.
Oh my gosh.
All right, buddy. Sorry. Yeah, she
So
ran down here. She comes sits here and we'll talk into like the microphone just at no screen. I want to do a podcast, Dad. She doesn't really understand it, but yeah.
That would be really funny to do a podcast with a 5-year-old.
Wouldn't it? She was a little shy there because she actually like realized it was on and I have a couple lights and stuff. But she would really, kids, they would open up after a couple minutes. She would really start feeling comfortable and loves the kids just love to ask questions. That's all she would do. What's the door in the background? What do you do? What's your husband do? What's his name? It's all they do is ask a million questions.
Oh, that's fun.
I love it. So yeah, your son will be there soon. 4
Say it again?
months. Your son will be there before you know
can't
it.
wait.
4
I can't wait for
months.
him to
Is he rolling over?
Yeah, man. He's on his stomach and he sleeps in the crib that way. It's such a trip.
That's awesome. Yeah.
It's cool.
How did that change your whole comedy world though? Because you guys have the weirdest hours.
I know, it sucks. It fucked up my whole touring schedule for sure. Because I don't want to leave the kid for 4 days. But I'm going to do it differently where I just do one night out in a city and come back, the next day. I'm not going to stay out for very long. And I do the Comedy Store down the street every weekend. I'm at the store and I do local LA. LA is a great comedy town, thankfully. So I can still go up.
How does that? So I always wondered that. So I was recently out in LA, right? The hotel next to the Comedy Store is where I was staying.
What? You
yeah.
did?
And I saw the line down the street though for the show that night was ridiculous. There were so many guys. But can you explain how the scene is in LA? It seems like in LA you don't get paid to do comedy. That's where you go work on your material and then you go on the road to get paid. Correct.
That's exactly right. So LA is a showcase city. That's what it's called. They're showcase clubs. So you go and you do these big clubs like the Improv, the Comedy Store, the Laugh Factory to be seen. It's more about to be on the marquee of the Comedy Store that week or to, you're hanging out with Bill Burr. You're hanging out with Joe Rogan. You're hanging out with like the coolest comics right now. And that's kind of what, that's why you do it. You get paid like $15 a spot at the Comedy Store. Like it's not for money. And you make your money other
How
ways.
much time do you normally do then?
At the store, like they give you, 15, 20-minute spots.
And are you just like honing new material when you go up?
Yeah. Cause the road used to be where I did that. But then what I found is I'm from LA, dude. Like this is my tribe. And I feel like these people, I connect with these audiences more. So I find myself, I write in LA and then I'll hone it like in the Midwest and in the South or wherever to make it palatable. You grind it down outside of the city. That's what I do.
Does your comedy always translate to other cities or does something it's killing LA maybe, but these guys are coming to the store because they love comedy. And then all of a sudden you go to Iowa and they don't understand your references.
Oh, dude, it's the worst. Yeah, go to Birmingham, Alabama. They don't get shit. They don't want to but the South is weird because if you're not from the South, they're like, I don't want to hear this. Not on, that's a huge generalization, but yeah, but that's the hard part of being a stand-up is that you make it work. You find what you're not communicating because you're not communicating properly if they're not laughing. And everybody not everybody, but a good percentage should be laughing,
Is it hard sometimes when to blame, I should say, to not say that the crowd sucks?
Yeah, they do.
So are there crowds that just suck?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. It's cultural. It can be regional. There are parts of the country that I won't go to because they, by far, it's just not for me. It's not that they suck. Maybe I'm just not their cup of tea, and that's okay. But yeah, there are audiences that suck. George Carlin said that, and I believe that for sure.
It's got to be a weird thing. I know I've felt it where I'm not doing anything comedy-wise, but just say I'm giving a little 10-minute talk or a Q&A session with a crowd. I feel like I have weird sarcastic humor with my buddies and my family and everybody, and they get it, but not really anyone else gets it. So if you ever think that's funny, like say you're just making a tiny little joke as you're speaking to a group, they don't get it. I'm like, oh, these guys, what's going on? These guys idiots? What's happening? And I realize like I'm telling like an inside joke to people that don't know the inside joke.
Yeah.
So it's like a weird thing. But what's kind of hard for me is that not the weird, but just the basic corny jokes, they'll love it. They'll die laughing. I
know. And that's, there's a reason How I Met Your Mother is the #1 sitcom in America, or whatever, The Big Bang Theory. Not that they're bad shows, but they're definitely like as a baseline that everybody can understand. And then there's there's acts that are a little, I don't know, varsity level or weird or, it's really you. Like, it's not a conscious thing. I think comedy, the more I do this, the more you realize like you have no control over the comedian you're going to become. It's just, it's the dark shit that's in here. And then, there's nothing you can do, right? You were born to play football. You were playing since 2nd grade, man. Like, there's
True.
nothing you can do to control that, right?
No, I mean, fortunately and unfortunately, you can't play football forever. You can do comedy forever. Do you ever see yourself not doing stand-up?
No, I think that's the key to life is, look, George Carlin was doing it up until he kicked it. And that's the beauty of stand-up is that it keeps your mind straight. Milton Berle was old as shit too. Wasn't he like 90-something when he died? Uncle Milty?
Who's the old dude that's still alive that is, he was in Elf? I don't even know. I forget.
Don Rickles?
No, Don Rickles. I watched his documentary. That dude's awesome.
I love Don Rickles.
He's hilarious. How's he doing? Is he still touring?
I think so. I think he's still in Vegas, or he may be close to retiring. He might be in his last round.
I know he's slowing down a bit from the little clips I've seen of him.
Wait, can we talk about documentaries? Yeah. I just watched Allen Iverson's documentary.
Isn't that great?
Talk about practice.
Yeah. Have you known about Allen Iverson at all before that?
All I knew was the talking about practice clip, and I was so taken with him. There was something so special in that clip because, like I said it earlier, you never see people being sincere. You never see a guy really be like, come on, I'm talking about practice. And it was so funny that he was really annoyed, and I love that clip talking about practice.
Yep. And that's what lives on for him. And he's going into the Hall of Fame, and he's just unbelievable player, but that little clip there will live forever through him. In a good way, though. I think it's not a bad it's not a bad thing. I mean, he had plenty of other things that he would not want to live on forever, and that one does. So yeah, he owns it, and I loved it, man. That was a good documentary. What other ones do you like?
I love the Afghanistan stuff. Restrepo, have you seen that one?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Love that. I love everything about punk rock in the 80s, and I'm trying to think of what else I've watched. I have a bad memory. We just sleep trained the kid, but I haven't slept in months.
I'm trying to think of some good ones recently. Did you ever watch did you see Bigger, Stronger, Faster?
No.
And then there's another one, the same guys who made Prescription Thugs that just came out. Bigger, Stronger, Faster is about steroids and the whole steroid supplement. I think you'd like it. It's not like a meathead guys thing. It's cool. It shows like both sides of it. It's a good. I don't know how old it is, but it's pretty good.
Is that a big deal? I imagine it is, right? In football, like, do they test you guys for that stuff?
Yeah, we get tested all the time for steroids.
Really?
Yep, dude. You talk about weird. You stand there, you have to take your shirt off, pants to your ankles, and a dude just stands there like this and just watches you pee into a little cup.
And when do you do this? Right before the game?
Yeah, it all throughout the week. It happens all the time.
What?
Yeah, like they'll be there. They're there almost every day, and they have different guys that get tested every single day. It's supposedly random testing, but yeah.
Wow. So you can't even smoke a little of the weed?
Well, steroids are one test, and then there's another test for street drugs. So weed is involved in that, and the good thing for people that smoke is that you're only tested once a year for street drugs, and you kind of know the window when you can be tested. So it's like a common saying that it's almost like an intelligence test, not a drug test for that, because you get tested like starting in April, basically. I think it is first couple weeks in April, they can start testing you. And then the last time they can test you for street drugs is August, maybe. So as long as they stop before, however long it takes to get out of your system before April, and then boom, they get tested. If they're clean, they're good to go for the rest of the year, the next 10, 11 months.
That's so crazy, dude. I had no idea.
It is weird.
How much, because Tom and I always love to talk about how players, they get, you make it. You're a professional football player. You fucking do it. You beat the odds. It's like 1 in a million, right? You're doing the dream. And then these guys just blow their money. Mm-hmm. It's my favorite. I love watching these documentaries of these dudes that are like we were talking about the $80,000 chains.
Have you seen Broke by Billy Corben?
I think so.
You probably have if you're thinking, yeah, that's the one that he did for ESPN, 30 for 30, and it interviews former athletes talking about how they blew all their money.
Yes, that's the one, because Tom watches it, so I watch it with him. I love 30 for 30. That's good.
It's awesome. Yeah, Billy Corben did that one. He did Cocaine Cowboys, which is probably my favorite documentary. I had Billy on here a while ago. Cocaine Cowboys, now that is what got me into documentaries. I've seen that thing like 15 times. Yeah. That's
a great one. I love that one too.
It's amazing. But yeah, the Broke one, it's true. And the longer I've been around, I see that the biggest problem for guys and for people that spend all your money is the hangers on in your family. Like they're everywhere, and they all just assume. It's one thing that I've always said, to buy your parents or your mom or dad a house. And then if you buy them a house, you gotta let them know, hey, that's good. You're good to go. Your house is paid for or whatever. I'm paying the mortgage, but I'm not sending you a monthly stipend. And that's the thing. A lot of these parents and extended family get on like salaries from their kid. And then all of a sudden their kid might get hurt and he'll be out of the league in 2 or 3 years, and he's making zero. And these people still expect to get a $10,000 check every month.
Mm-hmm. That's what Oprah Winfrey says. It's the family that's the worst. They'll hit you up, and family that you haven't talked to in years.
Yep.
All of a sudden, that uncle comes out of the woodwork. You haven't spoken to him. It's crazy. It's like, motherfucker, where were you when I was an open micer? Where were you when
Does that happen in your guys' world at all? Because you guys have, I'm sure, when you started doing comedy, and then now you guys have a pretty big national. Obviously, your podcast and your stand-up is huge. Tom's got Netflix special, all this stuff. Yeah,
it's been a crazy, crazy good year. Like, his shit is, he's selling out like theaters. It's so great.
Is he doing theaters now?
Yeah.
Wow.
He's so crazy. It's so weird. Like, because we were living in the Rampart division of LA. I don't know if you know, if you're familiar with that. It's like, it's the worst part of LA. It's like where the LA riots were. Wow. We were so poor like 10 years ago, living in like a 1-bedroom apartment. And, it's so nice to not have to like stress out a lot. You know what I mean? It's a nice thing when you've worked for so long, and to have it come. Like, Tom has earned everything. We've done our time being broke.
You've paid your dues.
Dues paid.
Is there ever a weird like shift in like resentment or anything, like Brad and Angelina? Like, let's say Brad's getting all the roles and Angelina's schlepping the 7 kids at home and yelling at Brad. He calls her at home, to say, "Hey, Ange, how you doing? I'm just on set in Bangladesh shooting this movie." She's like, "Your daughter hasn't slept in 3 days," and going crazy. Is there ever any resentment like that with you guys?
Oh my God, I was just telling him how much I hated his guts for the last few months. Absolutely. And any woman that tells you that there isn't a time where she hates her husband after she has a kid is lying. Because if you're breastfeeding that kid at 4 a.m. and you're exhausted and your husband's like, "Can I help you with something?" Yeah, you can grow some tits and feed this kid. Because the truth of it is, it does fall on the woman, because the baby comes from your body, and there's a biological thing that happens. But that's what I remind myself is, look, the trade-off is that I take care of our son, who I adore, and this is a once in a lifetime thing. This time with Ellis, I'll never get back. Show business will be there, unfortunately. It'll be there. Show business will be there, but my son, no. So
True. Are you guys gonna have any more?
you better get your life for asking me that question. How dare you ask me that?
Well, I figured little Ellis needs a playmate. Do you have any siblings?
No, I'm an only child. That's why I'm
Is
crazy.
Tom an only child?
No, he's got 2 sisters.
Okay.
That's why he's crazy. 2 sisters. What do you have? You have I see a girl and then.
Oh yeah, I have a girl and 2 boys.
Oh,
But I'm
that's good for her.
Yeah, I'm the youngest of 3 boys, so.
Oh God! So it was dick slaps in your house,
Everywhere.
huh?
I was the youngest of 3, so yes.
All dudes.
Terrible. All dudes, all the time.
Your poor mother.
Yeah, her life definitely would have been a little different if she would have had girls. Now that I have a girl and I see what it's like, and she even admits it. She's like, I don't think I could have had girls because they have a bunch of grandkids and a lot of them are girls. And I think like she doesn't understand some of the drama that happens with girls. It's true.
Boy.
There's no drama with us. We were just wanting to go lift weights and play sports. Doing nothing. We didn't really get in trouble. Like I think, pretty easy kids.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it's more drama. Girls are I just remember being a child and it's so much drama with other girls. And she said this about you. And
so you were the only child and you went to Canada and then grew up in LA. What was your schizophrenic mom? Didn't your parents get divorced?
Yeah, when I was 4.
Oh, so how did you split your time?
So then Dad got me on the weekends, and then Mom was weekdays.
And how was it living? Like when you say she was schizophrenic, like where on the spectrum was she?
So originally she was just a borderline personality disorder, and that kind of got worse over the years. Like she was a functional human being, and then the schizophrenia happened in the last like 8 years of her life. And she became kind of a shut-in, and it was like she stopped using the telephone. And I know I laugh because it's so horrible. It's like fucking crazy. She would only write letters to me at a certain point, and she wouldn't send emails because she was convinced that people were, reading them and the government's listening and all this stuff. And but yeah, so she was more functioning when I was younger.
Now, were you aware of something was off when you were a young kid?
No, I just knew that I didn't like being around my mother, and I didn't know why. Like I knew that you're conflicted as a kid, right? Because you love your mom, but at the same time, I didn't like her energy. I didn't like being around her. So I knew that. And then I think as I got older, as a teenager, I just hated being home. Like I was always at my best friend's house. I was always at other people's houses. I was on just going to clubs and getting out and, doing drugs and stuff. I didn't want to fucking be home. Like I hated it. So then later I put it together when I was like in college. I was like, oh, something's up. Like everyone doesn't experience this. This is not normal. She's not normal.
How did it feel when you realized that she was like schizophrenic? Did it make you feel like empathy or sympathy towards her?
Yeah, because I just thought she was kind of an asshole for so many years. You're like, you just go like, oh, you didn't, that wasn't intentional. Because as a kid too, you internalize a lot of their stuff. Like you blame yourself as a kid when your parents are messed up. You think it's your fault. Mm-hmm. So I think what it actually did was take the responsibility off of me. Because then I'm like, oh, I'm not a bad daughter. Because my mother would stop talking to me. Like she would get mad at me and be like, I'm not talking to you. I'm like, all right. And so, I started to get it that it was her. She was going through some stuff. And I think that liberates you as a child of somebody whose parent is mentally ill,
And so how did she die?
Yikes. So she died in July and she had a heart failure.
Jeez.
She had congestive heart failure. She also had cancer and she went through chemotherapy and everything. And then, and her heart just failed her. How was that?
What was your relationship like with her, the last year of her life?
Well, I hadn't spoken to her in 8 years.
Oh, geez.
So, yeah, it's funny. She really hated Tom. It was like this weird thing where she was convinced that Tommy was taking me away from her or something. And
wow.
She had heard voices. She had heard a voice tell her that Tom was telling me to stop talking to her or something weird like that. So
she lived by herself?
Yeah, she did. And pretty close to where I was living, which was weird. And no, I tried to visit her, and she threw me and my dad out. We went to visit her, and she kicked us out.
Jeez.
You know what's so funny though is like when I went to clean out her apartment, and I was like, you know, you hope that other people understand why I wasn't a great daughter. I wasn't always there. And I talked to the security guard, and she's like, you know, your mother, she was a very interesting lady. She never called me a nigger, but she called other people that. And I was like,
what? Jeez.
like, that sounds about right.
Oh
That's
my
mom.
God.
Yeah, she was a spicy, ornery,
Hungarian.
hateful. Yeah.
Wow. How did your dad have any contact with her those last 8 years?
Yeah, we tried to. You know, we tried to help her, but she would just refuse, and she would not talk to us. She would only write letters at a certain point, and like, so we would start writing her letters, but she wouldn't answer. You know, I think she became a shut-in is what had happened.
Does that influence your comedy and your writing?
Yeah.
Question of the
Oh
day.
my God. It's the darkest, horrible, you know, it's the dark, horrible thing that I think everybody has some dark, horrible thing. I think. And it's the dark, horrible thing that you create from, you know, when I was just reading about Prince today, who just died,
Mm-hmm.
and he had a horrible, horrible life. His parents, I forget, he had a baby that died after a week, and very tragic life.
Really?
And I think there is something to that. The creative person finds a way to make that into something good, you know, and he was amazingly talented. Holy shit.
Yeah. Do you think everyone has to have something like that? Their past has to be some kind of dark hole to actually become one of these crazy creative stars, like a George Carlin or Richard Pryor for comedians? Do you have to have that? Michael Jackson, do you have to have something messed up in your past to become these crazy good artists and create all this magic?
I think no, because if you look at people, I'm sure there are normal, quote, normal people, but they're not any good. I honestly think the best ones have horrible lives. The people that I've loved the most had the worst things happen to them. Because I read people's biographies. I'm very, like the documentary, I love knowing about people, and the people I've loved have had horrible things happen. Or maybe they'll admit to it. You know, maybe all creative people, maybe people just don't talk about this stuff, you know? I mean, athletes too. Jesus Christ. Allen Iverson's life was horrible, and he transcended so much and became so successful.
I love that your sports references now. You're like, it's so good to tell. Just great to speak to a woman that is so informed of all sports, not just football. That is good.
He's the only person I know besides you, AJ.
Well, hey, that's good. I'm in good company. I love that guy. I love Allen Iverson. He was a great player. He's a great personality. I hope he held on to some of his money. I think they even talk about it a little bit in that.
I hope
he's gonna make. He's going to the Hall of Fame. He can make money forever doing all kind of great things. So if you say that, does Tom have some deep dark hole that he's fighting from? It seems like his upbringing was old Top Dog seems to be top notch.
Yeah, I don't know, man. You know, you'd have to ask him where his dark stuff is.
Well, you got him going to therapy now.
I got him going. Oh,
I don't know. Well, he said he felt like we talked about it for a while, and he was so saying how amazing it was that I think he said you were going. I hope I'm not breaking any HIPAA laws right there. But he said you were going.
No, I'm going.
And then you were just talking to you. He could tell how, I don't know, he just felt good about it. And he's like, I should give it a shot. So he said he went, and he's like, it's been amazing.
Yeah. Well, I think everybody can benefit from therapy. And I know I sound like such an LA person saying this shit to somebody living in Ohio. You're like, yeah, right, weirdo. But, and I know it sounds crazy, but I just love it. And I don't know how people go through life without having someone to help sort their thoughts out.
What does that mean, sort your thoughts out?
Like when you see a shrink, at least what I do, I kind of like go over my week, and then, they kind of help you. Everyone has issues, and then they kind of help you sort out your issues and put them into proper context. Like, for instance, maybe you're in a fight with someone or your wife or whatever, and you're like, well, no, let's do it the other way around. God damn it, AJ doesn't pick up his boxer shorts. I know he's doing it just to spite me. But the truth is, maybe your wife grew up in a home where she was always picking up her dad's boxer shorts or some shit. So she's really mad at her dad, not so much at you. And so it helps you separate out the issues of today from like the past. That's what I think it is.
How do you apply that though? I would imagine in the setting, things like that seem like, oh, this is great. I feel so good. And then to actually live it and to apply that day to day is a lot tougher. It
helps you more because then you go, wait a minute, why am I reacting so much to this seemingly normal, like benign? Someone drops a comment and you're like, wait a minute, why am I so fired up? And then you can trace it back and go, oh, right, because I have an issue about blah, blah, blah.
So does that, now that you're both in therapy, does it ever make it a bigger problem because now you say something, you may get mad at Tom, and he's like, hey, I understand. You're just mad at your dad. You're not mad at me. You love me.
Yeah, it makes it so much better.
And then you get upset because you're like, don't act like you're a therapist, Tom.
No, but it does help. It totally helps, dude. It makes it so much better because then you know what you're mad at. And you know that 9 times out of 10, it's not today. It's something that happened like way back, dude.
Well, every fight with spouses or couples, it's never about really what it started.
Yeah.
Whatever it started over is kind of what got it going. And then 20 minutes in, you can be like, what are we doing? What are we talking about? I don't even know what we're arguing about. That's kind of everything, I feel like. Do you, I asked Tom, I think, are you guys ever going to go together as a couple?
Oh, no, I don't see us needing that now.
He said, I think he felt like you really felt like it was time. And with you, I think you were just about to have the baby. And he's like, she's really riding me. It's just killing me. So we got to get in there.
He said that?
One of the mommies would have sent you that clip, sent you a link to that part of it if he would have. No, he even said, no, I think we're good.
Yeah, I think we're okay. I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
But you guys have this podcast that's not like therapy, but you do it together. And it is something I asked him. I was like, but you guys seem to have this perfect dynamic. Like everything's so fun. And you come across as not only super smart and funny, but like the girl that's down for everything, like the cool girl that can hang out with the guys at the bar or whatever. That's how you, at least guys that would listen, I think, like, oh man, my wife could never hear me talk like this, or she would never talk about this. And I know you've been in that comedy scene forever, and you just have like awareness, and you're up with, you know what's going on in the world. But are you ever in an argument where you're supposed to be going to record, and all of a sudden, we can't record a podcast right now?
Yeah, and we've gotten into fights during the show where we have to be like, all right, let's just hit pause here. We can't do the show right now.
What number? What episodes would this be? I'd like to hear this.
Tell you that. Yeah, of course. There are days where we hate each other, and it's like, not hate each other, but where you're like, I fucking hate you. But that's how we fight, is we fight like comedians. We'll be like, I hate your guts. I want to rip your eyeballs out. And I'll be like, I want to pull your nuts off right now. And then we'll laugh and we'll talk about it. But yeah, I mean, of course we have our days like any couple. But I think we're more open. And I think the comedy world makes me more open. Like you said, I hang out with dudes constantly. I'm with dudes 24/7, dudes. So they don't get sensitive about shit, And neither do I. And it's not that I agree with everything on the show. Like, I just don't care. Like, I don't give a fuck. If it's a porno clip, like, what am I going to get offended? I'm going to get upset. Like, it's stupid.
Yeah, I could see. That's kind of what I was meant with talking about my mom earlier, why I don't think she would have wanted to have girls, because she doesn't understand, like, when girls get sensitive about comments. And we've had this talk with her, and she's going to hear it. She'll listen. Her and my dad listen to a lot of these. They'll love you. She would tell somebody, she'd go up to one of like my wife's friends and say, "Oh, you look so good. You lost so much weight." And the girl's like, "What? Right. I wasn't fat. What are you talking about?"
Right.
And you try to explain that to her. I'm like, "Mom, now the girl she didn't really lose weight. To me, that's a compliment. If someone tells me I lost weight, I'm like, well, no, these young girls take it that you're calling them fat and that they lost that weight. And it never that never processed in her brain, because she grew up with 3 boys and then all my buddies, where she could make fun of all my buddies and she could go back and forth with them and they wouldn't get sensitive. So I can see being in that world how it would create this atmosphere like, yeah, anything goes, and a girl is not going to get offended. It's annoying when people get offended at little comments like that.
That, and I also think girls are raised to be super insecure. We're raised to ask permission, whereas I think boys are more like, get the fuck out of my way, I'm going to do this. And like, I learned that from watching male comics, where it's more like, this is my world, dude. And like men, from what I've noticed, they feel like they belong in the world, that they're entitled to be there. And women, at least growing up, I was born in 1976. When I was raised, it was like, I had to ask permission to exist. And I think a lot of girls too, I don't know, maybe it's different now, but there's definitely, especially that's why there's not a lot of female comedians, I believe, because it's a very alpha thing to grab a microphone and command a room. And women are told that that's unattractive. You will be told that no guys will marry you. You are unattractive. That's, nobody wants to hear a woman talk, blah, blah, blah. It's still very sexist. The messages are very messed up for girls. You look at Kim Kardashian's ass, but you don't want to hear her say anything. I mean, there's obviously a reason for it, but I'm saying like society privileges attractiveness over anything else in us still. True. Maybe that's part of it. I don't know.
That's probably part of the whole Amy Schumer, I wouldn't call it backlash, but I know her whole whatever's happening with, it's died down a little bit, but they're saying she was stealing material, or her writers for her show were possibly stealing material. And then she's doing like was it Vanity Fair, like a naked shot kind of mocking the thing, saying this is beautiful or something. I don't know. There's a whole weird deal going on with her now. They called her plus size, but she's like, I'm not plus size.
It's not.
It's so weird. Yeah, the whole situation is just awkward. And she like hit some point where she was too famous and got too big, and then everyone's knocking her down now. Yeah.
Well, that's the trajectory of show business. They build you up, the media, so they can knock you down. And I'm sure you've seen this in football too. The player that everyone's talking about, well, then guess what? The next year he's going to be shit on by the media. It's all part of the game. It's all part of the bullshit. It was bound to happen. It's not even personal. It's not even about Amy Schumer. It's about the place she holds as a famous person, a famous woman.
Do people not want to see a woman in that strong of a role?
No.
They don't? Why?
I don't. Again, maybe this generation, these millennials are way more open-minded than my time. I'm 39, and they're more accepting of female comics. I see it changing. They don't think it's weird that a woman is telling jokes, whereas in the 90s, in the early 2000s, it was still an anomaly. Like, wait, what? I mean, I was actually told in 2010, there's a club in Kansas City. The owner told me, Christina, I've already booked 3 women this year. I can't book you. And I was like, okay, all right, bro. Wow. Go fuck yourself, and I'll never do that guy's club.
Definitely don't do that club now. And tell him Tom's not going there either. And tell Tom to show up and challenge him to a duel like Crazy Lokes.
That's what's up, man.
That's right. Send the mommies after him. That's right. Like I love the intro of your guys' podcast when you just hear Joe Rogan's voice. What's with the jeans?
That's my favorite moment.
It's so awesome. I love how you guys cut it in there.
I wish we would have had cameras in the studio the day Joe came, because that was probably one of the best moments ever on the show. That was the first question he asked when we came in from the intro song. The very first thing he said was, "What's with the jeans?" And our faces were like, "Oh shit!" No one's actually asked that before. Like Joe Rogan was the first one.
Yeah, so you guys jeans up, wipe down, all kind of everything. It's like everything you guys have. Your weird sayings, just they catch on.
Yeah, it's our own language, our own mommy language.
You guys have your own language going on that's catching on like wildfire.
I know, it's crazy. It's great.
Man, Ellis is going to be so confused when he starts like, "Mom, what are these random people yelling out to you?"
We're gonna get so many phone calls from the school too, and we're gonna have to act like we're upset with him over it. Like, Ellis is farting on children. Really?
Oh my God, we'll reprimand him. Don't worry.
What? He's telling kids to wipe down? What? How do you even discipline your kids? Like, don't you want to laugh at stuff that they do?
Yeah, for sure. It happens all the time. And my little boy, my daughter's the one that stepped in here. She's a pretty she's a girl, and she knows, and we teach her manners and teach her how to treat people nice and whatever. But my son is an absolute he's just a Neanderthal and wants to run around and hit things and knock things over and step on people.
See? That's what I'm talking about. It's a sense of entitlement in the world.
That's right. He
Fuck
has
shit
that.
up.
He has that. So, but I don't want to bring him down. So that was a question I wanted to ask.
Yeah.
Raising a daughter, so I sense like the responsibility of what it is to have a daughter, and I'm like, it is on me. It's the dad, because almost every girl in the world that is messed up has dad issues.
Yep.
So I don't want that. So how do I raise her to not be insecure?
To not be a slut? Oh,
that
to be
100% that, yes. But I think that probably comes from insecurity, looking for something.
Yeah, the only reason I came out somewhat normal is because my dad loved me, and my dad really made me a priority. As flawed as he is, my dad is I adore him for it, and it balanced me out, and it made me okay. She just needs to know that she's number one in your life, I think, and that she's just the most important thing to you, and that you're always going to be there to protect her and kick the shit out of any guy that comes over to date her.
That feels so good hearing you say that, because that's what I tell her every night in bed, and on the phone I write her notes saying she'll always repeat it. And she'll be like, Dad, I know your number one job is to protect me forever and ever. I'm like, yes, no matter what. I was like, no matter what you do, I try to teach her, like, I'm trying to set the stage early that you don't have to hold anything, don't hide anything from me. Like, if you make any mistakes, don't ever hide it. You can just you can tell me, and I promise you. I was like, I might have to discipline you, because I only discipline you because I love you. But I was like, I will never stop loving you no matter what. You could never do anything in the world to ever make me not love you and protect you forever. And so I'm trying to like set the ground rules real early, so she knows like I'm always there no matter what. And we'll see how it goes, man. She's been a great kid so far.
Yeah, and also, can I tell you with my dad is that he would meet all the like boys if they wanted to come over and take me out.
Yeah.
You better believe my father sat them down and, talked to them, and there was no horse shit.
Did that make you, even when you were like, say you were 15 and it was like cool to not want to be around your parents, how did you feel when your dad would bring guys in? And I'm sure you felt embarrassed at the time, but how did you deep down feel when he would talk to those guys?
Loved it.
Really? Even then, you knew?
I did, because I knew he was doing what he was supposed to do, which was to protect me. Okay. And I seriously think, like, I had my issues as a teenager, but I was never promiscuous. That wasn't my bag. I was angry. I was a punker. I was beating things up. I was shaving my head. I was, angry, but I wasn't promiscuous. And I never had an issue with dudes, because my dad loved me, and because my dad told me about how dudes are. And my mother too would be like, listen, don't have sex with guys until they love you and this and that. Like, guys just want one thing. I think it's if you tell them the truth, because girls, they're fucking dumb, dude. They think that dudes want to be friends with them and stuff. You better get your life.
So you just got to let them know. Okay, so you got to let them know what guys are thinking, and that you don't have friends that are guys.
Yeah.
Just guys that haven't tried to bang them yet.
At a certain age, yeah. That's what it becomes, yeah.
That's what I try to tell my wife, because before we met, she kind of vibes with like guys where she would be friends with guys. And she would ask me every once in a while if I had she felt weird if I ever had a friend that was a girl going in. I'm like, trust me, I never had a friend that was a girl. Like, what would I talk about? I was such an idiot anyway. Before I met her, I could barely speak. But why would I have a friend that's a girl? Like, it never even crossed my mind as a kid. Even in college. Like, I don't think so. If I wasn't either like they were my cousin and I'm related to them, or they're a girl. Like, I just never had friends that were girls.
Right. Well, you're also very much a guy's guy. You raised with brothers, but Tom's the same way. I don't think he had like female friends when we started dating, and
I don't think there can be that, because the guy one of them is out for something else, and it's usually the guy who's like, well, if I just wear her down, she'll finally stay over. That's
so true. And then they wait for you to break up with the dude that you're with,
and they talk about him. Yeah, send pictures of him out with some other girl.
Yeah, they circle you like jackals, like hyenas.
Oh my God.
When you're weak and you break up with someone, watch how your guy friends suddenly come around. These hyenas sniffing the carcass. Oh yeah.
Gosh, I'm gonna actually. This is good, because this is gonna be out there on the internet forever. I'm gonna show my daughter this when she's in 6th grade, 7th grade.
Yeah, send her to me. I'll be her mentor.
I'll tell her. I say, at some point they're not gonna listen to their parents. And they're like, Dad, you have no idea what it's like to the girls. And I'm like, this is a girl. She's lived it. Go talk to Christina.
That's what's up. Oh yeah, up to a certain age. I think up until 11 or 12, 13. And I think boys and girls can be friends when they're children, and then it gets hinky, right?
Then it gets weird for sure. It definitely does.
Yeah.
And that's so going back to what I was saying about my wife. So she had friends that were guys, and naturally we got married, and she doesn't like talk to them or text to these guys that are friends. And she finally has opened her eyes to it. It was a rare case where she did get along with guys. She'd go out like in big groups, and the guys that she could hang out with guys and be kind of friends with them. And I always would tell her, I'm like, no, all you had to do, if you open the door 1 inch let them know that you're into them, they are there. Not one of them would say no or turn you down, and they would be like, oh my 7 years of work have finally paid off.
Oh yeah, men, they're hunters. They're patient hunters. They're just
stalking their prey.
They're just, and I'll tell you what's the best thing is being married. When I married Tommy, it was like freedom, especially with comedy, with the male comedians, the ones that are talking to me. It's because I'm safe. You know what I mean? There's no. True. I work with these dudes, but
so their wife or girlfriend can't get upset with them for talking to you, and flip side, they know that you're off limits. Tommy, you're protected, the ultimate protector. Tommy Segura, the big bearded master,
the big bear. That's what's up.
The big bear. Also, I'm gonna wrap this up and let you roll here in a second. But how Tom and Bert take digs at each other, like on their vlogs and different things, are so. Was it the Crazy Lokes when Tom did the one video challenging Crazy Lokes, and he just threw in there mentioning how I'm not like Bert getting all fat or something, whatever it was.
Well, Bert's fatness has fluctuated so much lately. Like he'll come home off the road and off of filming for Travel Channel, and he'll be like 50 pounds heavier, and then all he'll do for a week is cut out alcohol, and he'll drop like 30 pounds.
We talked about he was on here. We talked about that, how he lives like two different lives. His world is he has the girls and his wife at home, and he goes on the road, and he's this guy that, and he's like, oh, I get home, it's all green juices and fasting, and it's amazing. That's
his voice. You did it really well, actually. Yeah,
but we talked about how him and Tom, how they get along so well, and it's so funny when they take jabs no matter what they're doing, they always just make little jabs back and forth, and unless you're fans of both of them and watch a lot of both, they probably don't get it. Like if you're a Tom fan and you don't know anything about Bert, you're like, what is this? Who's this Bert guy he's talking about?
If you want to see a great video, Google Bert Kreischer shaves Tom's Segura's chest.
Yeah.
We were on vacation in Hawaii with the Kreischers like years ago, and Bert's like, hey Tom, I can shave your chest so that it looks like you have more definition.
What?
And you gotta see it. It's great.
Okay, that's a good offer. That's a good friend. I'm sure it works out. I'll have to check it out.
It's a good friend, exactly.
It's a solid friend. That's what guys do.
Good buddy.
That's the difference between guys and girls, man.
Yeah, we don't fuck with each other that hard.
No. Do you have many girlfriends?
I do, yeah. Girls that I've grown up with since I was like 13, 14.
Okay.
I've got like 3 ride or die bitches that I've known my whole life.
I'm sure that's how they reference you when they talk about you. Right? To all their corporate friends in their cubicles.
Yeah, dude, but my friends are bad bitches, you know? They're like they're crazy. They're artists or, powerful.
Cool. Okay. Do you get along with other female comedians?
Yeah, of course. There's like 5 of us, so it's not that hard.
You guys have it's like your own little sorority.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, because totally.
Because you have to. I would imagine there's not enough big time female stand-ups that you guys can get resentful or jealous if one of them's taken off.
No, I think there's haters in every game though. Like when someone blows up, like there's a lot of haters on those people, obviously, but it's like, yeah, but who are you hating? You're just hating their success. You're not really hating them. I mean, unless they're assholes. There's a few assholes too, don't get me wrong, but
I'm sure.
No, we're cool.
Okay, good. That's good to know, because a lot of times girls that can hang out with guys
can't do girls.
Exactly.
Well, I can't do certain types. I'm not gonna lie. Like I can't talk about fucking manicures and like Birkin bags all day. I just don't like it. it's not that I'm better than it. It's just that I get bored. I just get bored.
I'm sure.
I like girls that are doing stuff, it's just people that are doing stuff.
Well, you're diverse. You have so many different. You're traveling the country, traveling the world, doing USO tours for troops and all this. A lot of girls can't relate to that.
Yeah, maybe.
That's got to be. I mean,
I don't have new friends. I have all the friends that I've grown up with. There's a point where you're like, I don't need new friends.
Especially you're having a kid. You got a kid. You're going to have another kid pretty soon, I'm sure.
You're horrible. Would you stop with that?
Tom talked about how Tom was super fertile. He was telling us. So.
He is. He had his swimmers tested when we were trying to conceive.
Really?
Yeah, because I'm old, so it was harder.
Did you guys have to get any help?
I just took some pill. Like, I took 1 round of Clomid is what it's called, and then bang. So he is a fertile. He is a bear that can.
He is the big burly bear. That's good to know, man. Good for him. Well, I'm looking forward to your next child whenever that starts.
You're the worst.
Whenever that starts to grow.
You're the worst.
Then I can't imagine the text that Tom might get. He's out like in Portland selling out a big theater, and you see him on Instagram. Someone took a picture of him smoking weed in the green room or something.
Oh.
Having the greatest. He's DJing. DJ Dadmouth. Is that his name now? Right.
Yeah. DJ Polyby or DJ Dadmouth.
So he didn't choose one. He either one or what?
It's his creative decision. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Depends on the night, probably.
Depends on the night. Depends on the gig. He's gigging. Oh my God, I resent him so much. If we had a second kid and he's DJing, oh my God.
Would you really?
I'd go crazy. I'd hate him.
It is funny. Like, it's funny to us, but there has to be kind of real. Is that a weird moment when do girls have that where if I'm not having fun, then they can't have fun? I know guys have that too. But like, it's a thing where the guy has to like downplay if he's out playing golf with his buddies and he's getting hammered or something. I've seen my buddies have to do that. Like, oh God, here, let's take a picture. Like, all proper, like I'm not doing anything. And then they get home and their wife or girlfriend says, have you been drinking? No. And he's falling down.
Yeah, of course. I mean,
so that's a thing?
Of course it's a thing. Well, your wife is home with your 3 kids and you're out partying?
This isn't me. This is not me. No, this isn't me. But
of course you downplay the fun. That's the whole point of marriage. You're not happy unless the other person's miserable.
Do you do that for Tom, though? If he's at home or he's somewhere else and you're having the greatest time, like you're at Coachella with Kylie and Kendall Jenner. You're with the Jenners at Coachella.
I love Burning Man, too. I go to Burning Man and the Renaissance Fair. I love all.
But so if one's not having fun, the other can't. I never understood that.
No, I think no. We are. If I'm home and like the dog has diarrhea, and it's 4 a.m. and the kid's crying, and I have to take the dog out for the 10th time, who's got diarrhea, then I'm pissed at him if he's having fun. But if I'm it's okay most of the times. If my life sucks, I want him to be unhappy too. Definitely. Okay.
Does he have to say, "Oh, the crowd sucked tonight. I bombed. This was
no, not like that."
I got you.
But I just sometimes when I'm suffering, I want him to suffer too. I've told him that before. I'm sure that's healthy.
I understand. I mean, that's something. I think that's pretty natural to not. The hard thing I've tried to. Luckily, my wife doesn't do it. Is when people have kids, and I had older teammates tell me. They'll come home and they almost like dread it because they've been at work, which is football practice, through the whole day. And they come home and their wife like tosses the kids. Here, take your kids. They've been crying all day. And then the wife like leaves. And I understand a little bit where they're coming from if they're resentful that if their kids were sick and all that stuff, like you were saying happened, the dog has diarrhea. Yeah. But to handle it like that would just be miserable. That's like my nightmare. I tell my wife that all the time. I thank her. I'm like, thank you. I know it's crazy now with the ages of our kids too. They're all over the place, but she never does that to me. And
where she just hands it to you.
Yeah, so you took your kids. I'm like, I want to watch. They're my kids. Please go do something. I take them all 3 at the lot and try to let her go out and do things to be a real human. Because if you hang around kids all day, every day, your brain turns to mush.
Yeah, well, you're one of the rare guys that I don't know if you're rare, but I know that you're one of the good guys that wants to be around their kids, and that's awesome. I think those wives are usually married to dudes that don't want to be as participant.
Yeah, that's 100% right. Is that your dog?
He's a freak. You know what? Actually, I have to go. I'm losing my nanny right now.
My bad. Yeah, I know. That's why I'm gonna let you go. I'm sorry I kept you long.
No, I love talking to you, AJ. You're so great, and I'm thrilled to have done this. I'm really thanks for answering my stupid questions.
Hey, I loved it. We're gonna have you back for sure at some point. Maybe when you're after the second kid, or maybe like 6 months into the pregnancy.
I gotta go.
Yeah. All right. Oh man, that's a good thing. Don't people want multiple kids? You're in LA. It will only give you more jobs and more gigs if you have more kids.
But you're horrible.
Everybody loves pregnant. They're trying to look for pregnant people on film.
I'm 39. We got to get cracking.
I know.
I barely healed together from the first one.
Well, yeah, I know. Well, whatever happens to that, good luck. I really appreciate you coming on here. Didn't even get to talk about the road rules. I was a big road rules fan.
Really? Next time.
I know. But thanks a lot, man. Christina, where can people find you on Twitter and stuff?
I'm at Christina P. And then my website is thousandranch.com, like my two favorite salad dressings together. And then Your Mom's House, and then That's Deep Bro as well. Listen to those two podcasts and listen to AJ Hawk, which you already are. Makes no sense.
That's me. That's this guy. That's me. Yes. Thank you very much. We will link it up and send everything to you, but I really appreciate it. I had a great time.
Oh, I did too. And say hi to your wife and kids. They're so cute. One of them's cute.
For sure. Thanks. All right. I'll see you.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
We're glad you could join us for today's conversation. After you subscribe to the show, head over to thehawkcast.com or reach out to AJ directly on Twitter at @officialAJHawk to recommend future guests that will help us inspire people to keep talking. Thanks again, and we look forward to speaking with you next time on the HawkCast.